I, 21 male, have a brother, Tim, 24. Ever since young, he's always bullied me for not being as smart as him and sneering at my passion for sports. Our parents tried to stop him, but in Asian households, they value brains over brawn, so he was always favored growing up. Less so now, as I have a stable job and am able to show my worth. I do still love them, but not Tim. He can't bully me as much, as I outmuscle and outsize him, but the insults and jabs over 10 years are a sticking point. End of last year, I came out as gay. My parents took time to accept it. Dad's even going to Asian support groups to find out more. Tim, however, went off as rocker, verbally screaming at how I was a disgrace and a shame, and I must have ruined our genes, mocking whether I was even a real man. Mom says that he just needs more time to process, but he's shown none of that, getting worse and joining this religious group at his university. This weekend, I came home late to find my room had been emptied completely. My clothes, posters, all my gym and sports equipment, all my books, everything was gone. The only thing intact was my laptop. I asked my parents and they had no idea, as they were out and left the house to Tim and his project group. They called him downstairs, and he said that he was curing my flawed ways and that he and his religious group would change me for the better. I won't repeat all he said, but he made a list of everything he threw out and why each made me flawed. Among the items he threw out was a signed item worth $1,200. I was finally fed up and told my parents that either he stays or I stay, but I was not living with someone who hated me. I recounted since young about him bullying, insulting, stealing, and ruining my stuff. This wasn't the first. I made it clear that while I loved them, if they still supported Tim ruining my life, I was cutting off contact. I grabbed my laptop and bag because I had nothing left and stayed at a friend's place. I've cooled down and called my mom, saying that I won't cut off contact, but while Tim is still living at home, I won't ever visit. She's begged me to reconsider, that we can still fix the relationship, that she and Dad are getting my stuff back, but I'm adamant that I can't coexist with Tim. I have money saved up so I can rent and survive easily enough, so living's not an issue for me, unlike Tim who's still studying. My friends support my decision to move out, but my relatives have been saying that I'm going overboard, that I shouldn't punish my parents for what Tim did, and that I should still show filial piety. They all say I'm an idiot for forcing my parents between two sons. Even if Tim is wrong, I am close to my relatives. I have a cousin who may as well be my actual brother, and even he thinks I shouldn't be so aggressive with cutting Tim out. I do feel bad for my parents, but I don't think I'm wrong to escape that toxicity. Am I the idiot? Edit. It's a big language barrier for my parents. Their English is very poor. They weren't aware of Tim's nasty language until after I told them about it. Not the idiot, but dude, your parents already made a choice and made it clear they don't have a real problem with your brother's hate or bullying. If your room in their house is now empty after Tim and his group came over, surely they understand that. Do they understand that he's in this group and what the group stands for? They're pretending not to understand what your brother's doing is just that, pretending. They do know. Do you think your parents would tolerate you stealing from them or even from your brother? There are insults in every language and culture on earth. Tone and facial expressions can insult just as much as literal words. Your parents are well aware your brother's using slurs, specifically related to your being gay. They also understand perfectly and permitted his religious group to barge into and cleanse their home of your personal possessions, specifically to rip away the gay from you. They know why your things were taken and condoned it with silence and inaction. Record your brother and use a translator. Also, send that recording to parents and the police. That idiot needs a whooping. OP, press charges on your brother. Take that list of items he admitted to stealing and report him to the police, and please move out. Maybe even get therapy. In all honesty, What you've been through and going through is so difficult, and it seems this is the breaking point. You might not even realize how difficult things will get. Please just make sure you have a good support system around you and embrace who you are as a person. Never hide it because of people as ignorant and uneducated as your brother. You do OP, and all the best. I just had my family out to the lake for the weekend. I work remotely from there, so it's not just a vacation home. It is my home. I'm single, and I like to buy myself toys. I also like to entertain. I own 2 Spark Tricks 800cc Sea-Doos. They're a lot of fun, but also really powerful. My sister and her family came up for the weekend. We had a good time, and I had a blast towing the kids on a tube. The problem came when one of my nephews wanted to drive the machine. I said no because, while I may call it a toy, it is not. When I was in the house, my brother-in-law let my nephew drive, but they skipped a step because he's an idiot. He forgot to attach the tether clip to the life jacket. As a result, the kid lost control and fell off. Normally, the tether is a dead man switch and turns off the machine if the rider falls off. So the Sea-Doo took off for a bit and started making slow circles until it ran into a dock. A bunch of the plastic on the top broke, and some got badly scratched. They came and told me, and I told him he had to pay to fix my machine. He's mad because it was an accident. I said he took it and gave it to someone who didn't have permission or experience, and he's responsible. My sister and I talked, and she paid me for the parts I would need to fix it. My brother-in-law is angry because it came out of their fund budget, and now he has to save up again for their vacation. Am I the idiot? Edit. My nephew wasn't hurt, just scared because of falling off, getting run over by it, and having to swim to shore. It came out of his fund budget? Boo-hoo! Be responsible. Not the idiot. Your brother-in-law should be kissing your butt to not press charges. That was stupid and dangerous, and he risked his son's life with his attitude. For real, no means no. Do you know what else would have come out of the fund budget? The medical expenses for the nephew if the machine hasn't narrowly missed him. Did the dock suffer damage too? This was a dumb and very expensive mistake for brother-in-law to encourage. The fact that it's being handled by someone without the owner's permission, much less the necessary training or license, might render the insurance coverage null and void for the incident. Insurance companies love loopholes, and I don't agree with the "it was just an accident" claim. The father helped him do it. The father knew that you said no. That was no accident. Sure, he didn't mean to cause damage, but bad things happen when you purposely do something you're not supposed to. Thankfully, your nephew wasn't hurt or hurt someone else. Did your brother-in-law not understand just how horrific it could have been? If I were you, I wouldn't let him near my stuff ever again. I, 46 female, own a second property besides my house. I was given this second home as an inheritance after my grandparents passed away around 10 years ago, and it's a modest 3-bedroom townhouse in my city. When it was passed down to me, my husband, 51, and I decided to rent it out and keep it until our son, nearly adult, goes off to college, then sell it to pay for his college tuition when the time comes. About 7 years ago, a younger couple moved in, and they have 4 kids with another one on the way now. Since the mortgage was already paid off when I received the property, my husband and I decided to charge them somewhat below market rent in our area. $2,000 a month is the current lease, because we understood the family's position and were already benefiting from our equity anyway. Before they even moved in, we made it very clear we had the intention of selling this property when our son was going off to college. We've continuously reminded them over the years. They agreed and said they understood the circumstances. We had no issues until their final lease was up in April, and they basically refused to move out. I've spoken to them multiple times, and the wife's basically saying, I'm trying to take their home away from them, especially when she's heavily pregnant. I've even tried to offer that they can buy the property off of us at a small discounted rate than what we would list for, but they just refused any other outcome. She's a stay-at-home mom, and from what I've been told, Her husband works but doesn't make enough money to pay a higher rent, so we started charging below market rent for 7 whole years. They're essentially squatters in the property now, and I've recently had the help of my real estate agent, lawyers, and local police department to have them removed from the property because there is a sale pending with a potential buyer. Now the wife is bashing me around the community and on Facebook about how I kicked them out, even though their lease was up 2 months ago. I know I'm legally in the right, but I've had multiple people reach out and say that I should have more sympathy for them and not be greedy. My husband and I think we've been sympathetic and given them discounted rent, but it was always clear to them that the house would be sold as it's our only way to send our kids to college without any student loans. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You've already given them a huge chance to get ahead. They had the opportunity to save money while living in your home at a discounted rate for years. How is it your problem they keep having children they can't afford? You were very clear from the beginning. To all the people that say you should have more sympathy for them or not be greedy, tell them sympathy doesn't pay for your bills or fund college. They can offer the family a below market or pay for your child's education. This was a business relationship. You've helped them more than you needed to. Maybe add up what you could have gotten for 7 years of discounted rent and tell others. Really X thousands of dollars that I didn't collect from them is greedy? Yep, if someone said this to me, I'd let them know they're more than welcome to put an offer on the house so they can continue to rent it to the family at cost. They had plenty of time to look for something to move to before the deadline. Literally years. It isn't your fault they chose not to. It isn't your fault that you had to get the law involved. Considering they're up to kid number 5, these are not folks that would use a plan B. What a bunch of entitled idiots. They had 7 years to get their act together. They're just guilt-tripping you. And the fact that you gave them a discounted rate, but they're not even grateful, says a lot. This isn't a rent eviction, and you've told them you would be selling for years. No good deed goes unpunished. My 22 female best friend, Jenny, 23 female, just recently had a baby with her husband, Tom, 25. My boyfriend and I met their baby boy for the first time last weekend when they came over to our flat for dinner. We have a hot tub on our balcony that my parents gave us for Christmas last year, and I had told them to bring swimwear so we could go in after dinner. My boyfriend wasn't up for it, so we held the baby while we 3 got ready to get in the tub. Jenny was the last person to get changed and came out of the bathroom in a bikini. I thought she looked amazing, really happy and glowing, but Tom laughed and said something about her still having some weight to lose before she'd be as attractive as she was before her pregnancy. I was a bit stunned by that comment, and even though Jenny didn't say anything, her smile disappeared, and she looked obviously uncomfortable. She and I had talked about her struggle with weight gain during her pregnancy, and I thought Tom's comment was more than insensitive. I got angry because I started wondering what he might be saying to her in private if he was comfortable dropping lines like that in front of other people. So I responded, "She just had a baby. What's your excuse?" The dude has a hefty beer belly and a double chin, but thinks he can joke about a new mom's weight. He got really defensive and told me that I needed to learn how to take a joke before stumping off to the hot tub. Jenny chuckled at my comment, and I thought that was it. But when they left for the night, Tom pulled me aside and told me to keep my nose out of other people's business. I don't think I was entirely in the wrong, but my boyfriend told me I shouldn't have reacted at all because it really wasn't my business. I think Tom's reaction speaks for itself, making me wonder whether I might have been the idiot in that situation. Not the idiot. Insulting your partner in front of other people deserves a calling out. Good for you, OP. Keep fighting the good fight. The only way to stop a bully is to throw whatever they're giving right back in their smug face. We cannot tolerate the intolerable. Also, he can't claim it's a private matter when he said it right in front of you. Why can't he joke about his wife's body after she just gave birth to his baby, but no one can respond in kind about his body? Now you know why she struggled with her weight gain during pregnancy, because she had an insecure idiot at home making comments about it. And your boyfriend's reaction is a huge red flag if you ask me. Yeah, the boyfriend's don't rock the boat attitude really rubbed me the wrong way, especially since the woman getting insulted was OP's best friend. Have a serious conversation with your boyfriend about his values, because no one should be comfortable remaining silent in the face of that kind of nasty behavior. My grandfather, 63, never liked my dad, and back when my parents were just dating, he would tell my mom stuff like, "I'm not an idiot, but you have to ask what a guy like him wants with a girl like you. He wants to marry you for a green card, etc." When mom got pregnant, Grandpa stopped talking to her and demanded she leave his house. She decided to move in with my dad, get married and whatnot. My parents have always worked hard to give me a good life and have always encouraged me academically. They always helped with my homework and were really active in my schools. My mom even started attending Mass at my dad's church, so I would have a higher chance of getting a scholarship at a private Catholic school. I did end up going there. Despite never needing my grandpa, my parents did attempt to build a connection between him and me. They'd invite him to my B-days and to Christmas, but he never came. My grandma would always come. The global issue changed this. My grandma died, and I guess the isolation made Grandpa rethink his life choices because he slowly attempted to reconnect with us. He never addressed being racist, but has apologized for prematurely judging my dad. Even though he has gotten closer to us, we're not a tight-knit grandpa-grandson duo. I was already 14 when he decided to reach out, so I think it would be naive to think we'd be like Little Red Riding Hood and her grandma at this point. Okay, so here comes the actual am I the idiot part, because I am aware that up until this point, Grandpa is the idiot. Last year I took the SAT for the first time, and I got 1450. My counselor told me that this score, combined with my grades and my class rank, number 1, meant that I was pretty much safe to apply almost anywhere. However, if it was something that interested me, I could try retaking the SAT, because if I got a 1500 plus, we could be talking Ivy League chances then. When I shared this with my family, my grandpa promptly offered to pay for an SAT prep course. I took the course, got a higher score, applied to schools, and eventually got a full ride to an Ivy school, where I'll start in the fall. Yesterday, my grandpa and I went out and met some of his friends, and he was telling them about my future college plans and bragged that if it wasn't for him paying for my course, I would not be on my way to school in the fall. I corrected him and said that while the course helped, it was my parents' hard work that got me where I am, as they were the ones who steered me towards academia anyways. He got mad at me, and he now says I'm ungrateful, but I don't think it's fair of him to take credit when it wasn't him who was there for me throughout my school journey. He was only there for the very end, but I recognize that while I would have gotten into college regardless, perhaps it would not be a full ride at a super elite school. So he did help. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He didn't buy you a place in an Ivy League college. All he did was splash some cash. You worked hard to get the points, and the only reason you were successful in your last year was because your parents supported and encouraged you from the beginning of your school. Credit where credit is due, and Granddad didn't deserve it. To each their own. The parents definitely deserve the credit for supporting and encouraging OP during the whole journey and for the sacrifices they made for this. Also, without OP's effort, all this would be in vain. OP deserves the credit for working and studying hard and achieving their goal. Still, it must be acknowledged that it would be a lot harder without the support. Grandpa deserves the credit for paying for the prep course. It was a small step compared with the years of effort of OP and their parents, and should be acknowledged as such. No less, but no more.